So if you allude to it, because you say a lot of tricky words.
No, I don't.
So
I say regular words that's tricky to you.
He said in the beginning, when people say he's above this show, it's too beyond reproach. He said time and time again that the reason I'm on this show is to reach the YNs that wouldn't usually come to my sandcastle, that wouldn't usually come to my beach. So that's why he's on this show. He's on this show to remind people that there are things and subjects that we need to adhere to and understand, and we need to discuss. And these people, if he just continued to speak with his constituents under his umbrella, under his choir, right, they would not hear the information. And the fact that the other co-host is reacting the way he is exactly the reason that Mark Lamont Hill is on the show. The places that he typically would visit via Fox News, CNN, Huffington Post, these are places that the YNs, the young button constituents, the viewers, would never visit really, truly. And so he gets to bring the concerns of politics, policy, and the trending topics of what's going on in Gaza, what's going on in the real world, and tie that into what's going on in black media and hip-hop culture. He is what the culture needs. And as much as people are upset about this interaction, I think it's extremely healthy interaction for people to get a real reflection of what's going on in that split between the black elitist or intellectualist versus the down-home unk. Right? So this is what's happening between the two. There's a huge divide, and Mark Lamont Hill is trying to bridge that gap. If he don't do it, who will? Nobody will. Nobody's been doing it. And I think it was really actually brilliant of Joe Budden to bring him to the podcast. If you watch Joe Budden's State of the Culture podcast, which I also watch, he brought in other intellects as well, similar to Mark Lamont Hill. So Joe Budden isn't new to this. He's actually true to this. He brought in Ebony K. Williams. He brought in Jinx. And he brought in Scotty Beam, all which hit on political, socio-economic, and financial struggles that were happening within and throughout the black culture, and tied that in and weaved it within hip-hop culture and how that affects us on a macro and a micro level. So we have to give respect where respect is due. And as much as you think Joe just threw Mark Lamont Hill on, I'm sure these are the conversations he's having in the back room. And Joe Budden is really woke. He's really in touch. As much as a YN or an OG or an unk as y'all want to say he is, he's extremely connected with what's going on, not only in hip-hop culture, but how that gap bridges into affecting our community as black people as a whole. So keeping these conversations going and continuing to say these tricky words and effectively teaching the young people these tricky words will lift, right? All tides lift the boats. Will lift the boats of the youth. Will increase and spark the mind of the youth. Because like Tupac say, I might not change the world, but maybe I will spark the one mind that will change the world. Congrats to you, Mark Lamont Hill. Hats off to you. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. My mother put me onto you a long time ago. I've been watching. I'm going to keep watching. And you are who you think you are. And shout out to the mastermind behind the Joe Budden show, Joe Budden himself, for putting in brains that are not just from the hood perspective, from the general perspective, from the masses, the groupthink perspective, but isn't afraid to put on minds and intellectuals like Mark Lamont Hill. It makes the show much more interesting, and people like me who probably really wouldn't watch Joe podcast show as much are watching. And then you have people who would never watch Mark Lamont Hill show are now watching Mark Lamont Hill. So either way, it's a win-win. And this little clip and all the tricky words is going to help boost the show even more. I mean, they're doing their job.